I don't want to live on the moon.
Right. Will it serve as a functional life source eventually for human beings? And B, we know how the age of colonialism worked on this planet. Should we be trying to colonize and saying that there's a keep-out zone that not other countries can participate in having?
Well, the real problem with the colonization history.
Hey guys, so Neil deGrasse Tyson is back with a space-themed tie, no less, to discuss the Trump administration's plans for a nuclear reactor on the moon. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually pretty reasonable here, but you have to hear this question that the CBS host asked. It is, without exaggeration, one of the stupidest questions I have ever heard a morning show host ask, and the bar for that is very high. So let's just get into the interview.
So how would a reactor like this in outer space even work?
It's a small reactor. I mean, the word nuke spooks everybody, but this reactor could sustain 50 hair dryers. That's about it, 100 kilowatts.
Okay, see, what I'm thinking is...
Yeah, I know. So don't get too spooked out about it, A. B, if we have plans to set up a colony anywhere, you'd want an energy source. So that's not a weird fact.
Okay.
What makes this announcement a little different is that this plan, which would have possibly extended well into the 2030s, he wants to push it into the 2020s. And why? Because there are musings in China and Russia that they want to do the same. Mm-hmm. And for the past 65 years, we've been highly reactive to that kind of real or perceived threat by other nations, especially.
So you can see that the hosts begin with this very smarmy expression, and they're obviously very skeptical of the plan. How would this reactor even work? But they sober up very quickly when Neil deGrasse Tyson starts talking about the fact that China and Russia would also like to do this sort of thing. So just keep that in mind. The wheels are spinning. They have to come up with another objection, but they're not sure how they're going to object yet.
Of course, in the Apollo era, the Soviet Union. So this is on brand for America, right, to do this. What's not on brand is to cut science programs, not only in NASA, but across the board, and then say, we want to excel in this one spot. Well, in the 1960s, science was a major investment profile of the United States. And by the way, it's not on brand even for Republicans, because Republican administrations since the Second World War have had a higher annual increase, average annual increase in the science budget than even the Democrats. So Trump's decision to cut science is not on brand for even being a Republican. And to say, let's cherry pick where we want to show the world where we're the best. You can't really do that without the rest of a science foundation.
So this is going to be the objection, right? That Trump is being some sort of hypocrite, or he's being unreasonable because he wants to cut science in all these other areas, but he also wants to go to the moon. Well, science is a very broad term. It's an umbrella which covers a lot of different experiments and sectors, as Neil deGrasse Tyson alludes to. And unfortunately, it's become incredibly poisoned in recent years. I mean, it's very difficult to justify sort of indiscriminate funding for the science when that includes things like, pioneering new ways to mutilate teenage boys and girls. That's just the most obvious example of science which really does not deserve to be funded and should also be illegal. I mean, that sort of stuff is so cruel and abusive to the kids. But you can think of other examples. There are plenty of ridiculous NIH grants for things like, studying the impact of AIDS and genderqueer Hispanics living on the border. I don't know. That one may or may not be real. But there's no contradiction in saying, well, we want America to lead the pack in terms of aerospace innovations. We want America to lead the pack in terms of energy and technology, but we don't want America to lead the pack in terms of transgender surgeries. I mean, those things are pretty easy to square.
Point, because in the 1950s and the 1960s, when the United States realized that they were a step behind the Soviets in the race to space, is when all of a sudden there was an increased focus on science, technology, and importantly, in schools.
Yes, science, thank you. I meant to say that. So it wasn't just government programs. There was a general deep interest that went into the schools, into teachers, and people's attitudes towards science was completely different. And so if you want to lead the world, you can't cherry pick a thing and believe that that's going to work, because science is highly cross-pollinating. I mean, just take a look at the iPhone example. Steve Jobs didn't invent GPS or solid-state storage or touchscreen. He didn't invent any of it. Put it together. This is the cross-pollination of different engineering and science frontiers.
Neil, I mean...
Well, America has changed a lot since the 1960s. I think it would be a mistake to say that this shifting attitude towards science is this totally top-down invention. Students are less capable in general, and I also wouldn't pin that just on the public education system. Students don't read, that's been a trend for a while. Now they don't really even have to write because they can use ChatGPT or something to come up with their essays for them. And writing is a lot like thinking. You know, it forces you to condense your thoughts into something that's comprehensible for other people. So for students who never do that, there might just not be a lot going on upstairs anyway.
Even when Vlad was reading this intro, like, it sounds like science fiction, but is this just like manifest destiny? Like, is it inevitable that we're going to have to go to the moon and try to colonize the moon? Like,
well, consider that we could have stayed there in 1972, but we didn't. Could have gone back in 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, but we didn't. All of a sudden, we have the Artemis program. We're going back to the moon. Why? China says they're going back to the moon. Once again, we're being reactive. I don't have a problem with that. I just want people to be honest about the motives. So when he says...
Isn't there a reality where, like, this planet is not going to be able to sustain us for the long term, and we're going to have to find elsewhere?
Well, okay, by sane estimates, it looks like our population will level off at about 10 billion. But if we want to keep growing a population, or if we want to live forever, all right, we're going to need another planet.
So is that the moon? Because
Okay, let's pause here. He's about to ask the question. Get ready. It's beautiful.
I don't want to live on the moon.
Right. Will it serve as a functional life source eventually for human beings? And B, we know how the age of colonialism worked on this planet. Should we be trying to colonize and saying that there's a keep-out zone that not other countries can participate in having?
Well, the real problem with the colonization history...
Okay, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I can't even keep it together. Neil deGrasse Tyson's face is like slack-jawed in amazement. Is the host really going to ask me if we shouldn't colonize the moon because of colonization on Earth? I have nothing else to say. I just enjoy it.
In Western civilization is that there were people already there. Right? There are no moon beings that were displacing.
As far as we know. As far as we know.
Or Martians. Yeah. I'm just saying the moon and Mars.
It's just so amazing to object to colonizing the moon on those grounds. And by the way, if we do happen to discover life forms on the moon, they might benefit from colonization. Okay, it's not out of the question that they would be very grateful for our support, so.
Yes, they would be the next place you might put people, but I don't see it as it makes a good headline and clickbait, but I don't see it as a realistic way to deal with our overpopulation or overconsumption. So then,
is there
resources.
a need to put this reactor on the moon, or are we just trying to win a race?
No, there's a little bit of muscle flexing there, and then, yes.
If there's a practical need, besides
if you're going to
set up,
if you're going to pitch tent and have a colony there, you're going to need an energy source. But if you have an energy source that's there long before anybody else gets there, then that was a muscle flexing. Yeah. And by the way, on the moon, there's an old joke about the moon. If we colonize it and set up a restaurant, it would have very different food there, but it would have no atmosphere.
Okay, that's enough of that. Neil deGrasse Tyson is by far the sanest person in this conversation, which is sort of worrying. But what did you think? Should we build a reactor on the moon? Are you worried about the native life forms there being displaced? Let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.